My name is Shelly. I've been doing executive recruitment and search for 22 years now, and essentially that's who I am. That's what I do. I work as a third-party agency. I've never done internal recruiting, so everything I've done is external, coaching candidates through the process, coaching clients through the process, and helping people interview, because that's how, if you have someone like me, you can help get the job. So I guess that is any questions about me? I am currently working with Google, PwC, and Deloitte. That's who I have on tap currently, and that's enough. That's enough. That's enough. And hello. And are there any questions? I just want to open the floor up to any question that you might have about job search, fear, if you've been laid off, anything. And so that's what I'm here for. Anybody? Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Do you have any suggestions for a new graduate moving into a new city, being that Austin has UT and he didn't go to school here?
All right. The question is, do we have any advice for new college graduates moving into a new city where they don't know anyone?
And seeking a job.
And seeking a job. I actually did this personally, but I graduated at 27 years old. I was in the Army previous to that, finished my degree. Moved to Austin. When I was in the Army, I dated a Marine who brought me here to meet his mother. I decided I didn't like him or his mother, but I liked Austin. So I came here. And I moved here cold, didn't know anybody. And I will say this, frankly, I was doing executive recruiting at the time up in DC, where I'm from. And so what I did was interview with other recruiting companies who moved me here. And that may sound overly simplistic. Is this someone who has a job currently?
No.
Or no? Then what I'm going to say is just do it. Move. Come here, do the 25-year-old thing and work 3 jobs until they find a job that pays enough money to pay the rent. And it's at 20-something years old, it's worth the leap of faith to just cast yourself into the void. That's my opinion. Someone else will tell you something different, but that's what I would do. I did it at 27. It was the best thing I ever did. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, I'm not 27.
That's okay.
And I
Neither am I.
took the leap that I'm in.
Wonderful. Welcome to
And
Austin.
it's a little
Tough.
crowded for me, but I'm not IT. So, but I would like to know how interested is PwC in the law and someone that has a very active master's in accounting, but what they don't want. I can't say that. Would I be wasting my time?
So the question is, I'm not a 25-year-old. Would someone be would PwC or Deloitte or a company of that ilk be interested in me? Well, the answer is, unfortunately, obviously, it depends on your skill set. You've got a varied background. You've got a master's in
MFA.
and you've got an MFA. Okay,
And
we've
a
got
CPA.
and a CPA. Oh, that's interesting. We've got a lot of interesting organizations in town, actually, that would love to have you. We've got the opera. We've got the Butler School of Music, if that's something you've ever considered looking at. We've got, who else? What other arts organizations do we have? We have a lot of arts organizations in town. I think that definitely could use your skills. And then I would definitely talk to the City of Austin Cultural Arts Division. Definitely talk to them. So with an MFA and a CPA, that's a job here in Austin, I think quite easily. Quite definitely easily. So, did I answer your question? Okay. Okay. Yes. Yes, ma'am, in the back.
I'm trying to decide between 2 careers. You know, how do I decide what I should be doing?
Okay. That's a long question. That's a long answer. So you're deciding between 2 different careers. First of all, that's good. Congratulations that you're not stuck, if you will. What kind of careers are you looking at, if you don't mind my asking?
Accounting versus math teacher.
Ooh. Okay. What have you been doing for the past X number of years?
Housewife.
Housewife. Got it. Accounting, to enter back into the marketplace, frankly, as you know, is tough. But as an accountant with the skills that you have, you could probably do it fairly easily. Accounting is going to put you heads down doing accounting work, and no offense, right? You're going to do accounting work, and you're going to work very easily 50 to 60 hours a week, depending on the firm that you work for, unless you get a job with the city or the state. So you definitely, I mean, obviously we have to consider, you know, how much, you know, how important is money in this? Obviously more money as a CPA working 50 to 60 hours a week than there is in teaching. But math teachers in the state of Texas, we need you desperately. Please teach my next door neighbor's kids how to add tax to my bill after they mow the lawn, right? Because they can't do it. So on a personal note, please come teach kids. But really, you know, when we're talking about career changing or deciding between careers, there's no magic bullet. It depends on who you are. And I know that seems like obvious advice and probably not very helpful, but I would sit down and just, you know, as a teacher, you're going to work a lot, but you'll be able to teach my next door neighbor's kid how to add 8.25% tax to my bill. That'd be great for me. But as a CPA, you're also going to work a lot, but you'll get a little more money. And at this point, is working, will you be working for passion or working to pay the mortgage?
Passion.
Then you need to decide where your passion is, and nobody can tell you that. How's that? Is that helpful?
Yes.
At all? Is that helpful to anybody? If you have the option to work for passion? Pardon me, I've been talking all day. Anyone else?
What would you recommend as a strategy for getting interviews for C-suite jobs?
Oh, that's a tough one. C-suite jobs. C-suite jobs are tough. Have you registered or talked to any of the retained search firms here in town?
I have registered.
And any results from them? If you don't mind my asking, which ones have you talked to? I would definitely tap Korn Ferry. Do you know them? Tap Korn Ferry. There used to be a management recruiter's office. Management recruiter's office, they used to be off of 360 across the street from Barton Creek Square Mall. I don't know if they are still in business or not. They were a franchise office and not a corporate office, so I'm not sure. But I would definitely do that. And also, I would call Korn Ferry, frankly. I like them a lot. I'm mentioning them by name. I've got personal experience with them. I think they've got really fantastic consultants. They do some really high-level work. They do a lot of board searches, and they do a lot of C-level searches, too. And your background is in, I see, CIO.
CIO, right?
Mhm.
So it's all been technical.
It's all been technology. I would definitely tap former partners from AV, Austin Ventures. Do you know them? AV imploded, I don't know, several years ago. Does that sound right? 3 or 4 years ago? Maybe 2 or 3 years ago? They imploded due to some personality issues in their C-suite. And a lot of the former partners and funding guys who are lower level partners have gone off to form their own their own venture, VC firms, and you can find them on LinkedIn. Just do a search for AV, and there's companies that do angel funding. There's companies that do second, you know how it is. They do second or third round funding, and that's what they'll do. But if you want to stay in Austin, for me, that's what I would do. I would hit those guys up and just start talking to them and networking with them. Are you currently a CIO? Are you
Just recently left.
Okay. But that's what I would do. At a C-level position, frankly, it's going to take you a year or more to find a job. At that level, you'll be able to find something. We can all find something. We can all find the intermediary job because that means we have to travel or whatever it is, relocate temporarily. But if you're looking at that level, it's going to take you that long. It just will. Does that answer? Was that helpful in any way? Okay, great. Wonderful. Yes, sir.
Who does that, like a trophy or is it like an engineer?
So the question is, how can I find a recruiter in my field? Okay. I would first, what kind of engineering do you do? I don't know. Oh, cache memory hardware, okay. What I would do, well, first of all, I would definitely talk to a company called Tech Systems, TEK Systems. I would talk to them. I would talk to Volt. I know that Volt has the big contract with Dell, and they do a lot of temporary stuff, but they also do full-time placement as well. I would, yes, Volt, V-O-L-T. And the first one was Tech Systems, TEK Systems, Tech Systems. I would do that. I would also take a look at the aforementioned management recruiters. They are also executive recruiters. Like I said, I interviewed with them, but it was many years ago. I'm not sure if they're still in business, but they did a lot of engineering, and yeah, and hardware design's a hard place to be right now, right? Yeah.
It seems like it's off and on. Sometimes I see, I used to see blog postings.
Yes.
But now it's cooled off.
Yeah, we're just talking about how difficult it is to be a hardware engineer these days. Are there any other hardware engineers in the house? Raise your hands high, please, so we can all see. Look at this. The 5 of you who raised your hands, can you turn around and look at each other, please, for me? Do it. Raise your hands again. Hi. Okay. Will you guys get together with each other and talk to each other after this so that you can connect? And if you need to, excuse my language, if you need to have bitch sessions about the industry, definitely do that. Get together and have a drink. That's not a joke. Get together and talk to each other. See if you can help each other out. But yeah, tough place to be. I think, and tell me, and this is a question I'm actually going to pose to you. Can we take some of these hardware design skills and turn them to Internet of Things? Do they translate easily? Because I don't know. I'm just asking. Yes, no, somebody? They don't translate easily?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just another chip.
It's, right?
So,
It's
yeah.
just, so maybe, you know,
They might think that, why would you take less pay? They'll probably be paying you less to do something different. It's a sideways move.
have you interviewed? Has that been your experience?
No, I
I'm
haven't
curious about that.
No, I haven't.
Okay, so it's interesting. I like that it's, first of all, I like that it's a sideways move. I've actually been wanting to talk to some hardware engineers about this. So I'm very glad that it's a sideways move, and you may not take less. You may take something similar. And frankly, there are not 27-year-olds that have your skills, because they don't. Because 27-year-olds didn't go to chip design, did they? So the good news is you may not be competing against them, but what we need to do is tweak the resume so that these IoT companies can see that it's an easy lateral move. So I think it's not, even though hardware design is hard, it's completely imploded out in Silicon Valley, right? That's what I hear. That it's completely imploded there, but not here. And if we can tweak the resumes to do that, then that's what we need to do. And I think you should be able to hopefully find positions pretty easily. So I know that was a discussion and not a question, but I'm glad you guys are here, and I'm glad we asked. I'm glad I asked. Yes, sir.
If you're trying to make a drastic career change
Yes.
into a field that you've never been in, how do you tweak your resume, so to speak? How do you get through that online system, even though you have transferable skills, but none of the titles or experience?
Yes. Okay, so the question is making a drastic career change. So, for example, from being a lawyer to owning a coffee shop? Or what example are we talking about specifically?
Let's say customer service or manufacturing into geotech.
Into
The geotechnical or environmental science.
environmental, okay, so customer service into environmental science. Did you go to school for environmental science? You have a degree or,
Yes.
okay. And then where did you go to school, sir? I'm so sorry.
I was in Michigan. I just came in.
Okay, and because what I was going to ask is, since you were in school, I would definitely look at the outplacement services at school. But environmental services, depending on what part of environmental services you're in, I'm going to be blunt, Austin's not the place. It's not, and I'm very sorry, and It's not the place. Houston is going to be a better place. And depending on how long you've been applying for positions, I would try, just as an experiment only, to send a resume to Houston or Dallas or Midland and see what happens. And so, or state jobs, that's right. State jobs, yes, sir, I'm sorry, in the blue, can you say that?
I'm sorry, I was going to
No,
say
no, no,
state
please.
jobs. State jobs also because they're environmental services for the state
Yes.
here in Austin, but that would be a state position.
There you
And
go.
I know some people who work there, but
Okay, what's your name, sir?
Tom works.
Tom, you're going to be talking to a lot of people after
Yeah.
after this
Well, I know one
today.
person that works there.
Yes. There you go. You asked the question. Okay, yes, ma'am.
Yes, question because you kind of brought it up.
Yes.
About a 27-year-old. In my field, I'm in marketing and I'm in digital marketing.
Yes.
Yeah. I have about 20 years of experience, but I find that I think I'm competing.
Yes. Okay, so the question is,
How do I do that?
are you currently in digital marketing, ma'am?
I did digital marketing my previous job.
Okay, okay, that's fine. So the question is, I'm in digital marketing now, and now all of the digital marketing jobs I'm looking at, I'm competing against 27-year-olds. The answer is, as ridiculous as some of my answers can be, apply to positions that don't require you to compete with 27-year-olds. Where are they? They're going to be in larger companies. Typically, we've got startup fever in Austin, right? And I'm personally not a fan of startups with the clients, the career coaching clients that I have. I actively steer them away from startups. I don't like them. I don't like the mindset, especially I don't like the mindset of VCs. They're in it, most of them, for the short term. They're not in it for the long game. So they're just not a nice place to work. So forget the whole mindset about the 20-year-olds. It's 20-year-olds who are dumb enough to take those jobs. And I have those conversations with them where they're working and they said, oh, I worked somewhere and we ran out of money and I haven't gotten a paycheck for a month. Well, stop going to work because you don't have a job. But that's not to be dismissive in any way. But I would definitely look at larger firms. GM has moved to town, Visa's in town, Lockheed Martin has lots and lots of work in town. BAE Systems out on the east side. I would look at some larger companies that have, frankly, more mature business models because the business models are mature and so are the people.